Today I'm talking with Pete Measey, who is CEO of Radtac Limited, a gold sponsor at the Agile Business Conference in London this October. Pete, let's begin by talking about your presentation in the public sector track this year, which is entitled Agile and the Best Management Practice Frameworks. There would seem to be some confusion as to whether the two can coexist. Can you explain why people might be confused?
Yeah, absolutely. So we put a white paper together this year with the Cabinet Office on this. It's basically, Agile is really more about a state of being, i.e. you don't really do Agile, you be Agile. So it's about a mindset, it's about a culture change. However, does that mean that we just do everything in an Agile way, we make everything up, or is it a good idea to actually have reference frameworks for particular areas? Well, I would suggest it's a good idea to have reference frameworks. So what you can do is you can basically have Agile values and principles. Within that you can have Agile projects and programs. Within that you can have Agile delivery, but then you reference that off to particular baselines of knowledge about the area in which you work. So for example, if you want to do Agile in a service management context, what we would recommend is you have a clear definition of what Agile means so you can be Agile, and then what you do is you use ITIL, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, from the Best Management Practice Frameworks, as a base of knowledge to help you actually do that. That's one example. Another example would be if you want to be doing Agile, you're working in an Agile way, if you want some support to help you do risk management, then you can use MOR for the Best Management Practice Frameworks as a reference site, so you can actually have some help for how to do risk management. Same with MSP, so Managing Successful Programs. We want to work in an Agile way, so we have the mindset of Agile, we have the culture of Agile. However, if we're going to manage a program, it's a damn good idea to have a reference to help you do that, to think about, benefits management, all that sort of good stuff. So MSP is a really good source of that information. So basically what we have is that which defines being Agile, working in an Agile way, and we have reference products. Now the risk is that what happens is quite regularly with the best management practice products, ITIL, Prince2, MSP, all this sort of good stuff, sadly, people do one of two things. They either just say, hey, we have a PID, a project initiation document, and therefore we're Prince2, which is obviously not correct, or alternatively, they just follow the best management practice framework basically without turning their brain on. So they do exactly MSP, or exactly Prince2, or exactly ITIL, or whatever it is, and that's not how those frameworks are designed to be used. All of those frameworks in the best management practice are designed to be customized down, so they have a full definition of this is everything in Prince2 or MSP, and then you should customize them down. As I say, sadly that doesn't happen. So what we can do is we can say, okay, we're being Agile, and when we're being Agile, we have a very clear definition of this is what agility is, this is the basics of how we'll do delivery and management, and then what you can do is you can add things in from the framework that makes sense with the environment. So if you're doing service management, you're Agile, and then you add in elements from ITIL. So in essence, it means the brain is turned on, and you're always thinking about what is actually needed from the best management practice framework. So it creates a really strong integrated set of this is how we do stuff, Agile, and here are all the reference frameworks that we can use to learn things from people with 30, 40, 50 years of experience. So it's a really good combination.
Mm-hmm. In the synopsis for your session on the website, you talk about two polarised choices when transitioning to an Agile way of working.
Yeah.
Is it always achieved by either revolution or evolution in your experience?
In my experience, yes. And what tends to happen is that perhaps people become a little bit fundamentalist about methods, sadly. And this is all methods, Prince2, MSP, Agile, everything. And what they see is their area. So, they understand Prince2 or they understand PMBOK or whatever it is. And they then become very fundamentalist about their area. The real world is that different frameworks are required for different business solutions, so it's always an integration of different frameworks. It's then about how do we actually get the organisation to use those frameworks. Now, it's dead easy to write a framework, it's not easy to make it stick. So this is about understanding how the organisation works, where the organisation is today, change readiness analysis, what are the human beings operating in that organisation, how many change initiatives do they have operating at this particular time? Can they actually change in a revolutionary way? Now, if you have a situation whereby your business is currently waterfall and you're competing with a load of businesses who are Agile, you need to go revolutionary. You need to change real quick, otherwise you're going to go out of business. So in that situation, you would use a revolutionary approach. However, generally, if you're not in that situation, you really need to make it stick. You really need to be doing more of an evolutionary approach. And what that means is, this is where we want to be. This is our key focus, our key vision. This is where we are now, based on change readiness analysis and agile readiness analysis. What are the sensible steps we can take to get from here to here? So it's about evolutionary change. Now, if we're talking about the public sector, my experience of the public sector, having worked in it and the private sector for the last 25, 30 years, is the public sector will not change in a revolutionary way. It is far, far too risky to take a huge department and just throw it in the air and then just see how the bits sort of like fall back on the ground again. So that means what we need to do is we need to recognise the reality of how these departments currently work, and then we need to work in an evolutionary way. We need to define, this is where we want to be, this is where we are today, and basically we evolve the capability. And in my opinion and my experience, that's the only way we're going to get the public sector to change. If we can get elements of the public sector to change in a revolutionary way, fantastic. I just doubt it will happen. So, do things evolutionary. Evolutionary can be revolutionary. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the Earth, when a meteorite came down 30 million years ago, whenever it was, and wiped out the dinosaurs, that was evolution, but it's evolution that happened in a revolutionary way. And that's how you make change happen. If you can do revolution, great, but normally you need to do evolution.
Yeah. Okay. As you know, the Institute for Government recently published a review of the first year of the government's ICT strategy, which found that the ICT community in government has taken some important steps forward. There were some areas where tangible progress was challenged, and the report states that this was particularly true in relation to Agile. There were concerns that the Agile projects currently undertaken are very minor projects running on the fringe of departments, although we should state that the exception is the Universal Credit Programme. So in your view, Pete, is Agile making progress?
Yeah, absolutely it is, yeah. I mean, RADTAC, for example, using an Agile protocol, DSDM, I mean, we actually worked with the Customs and Excise about 12 years ago to implement Agile across a very large government department. So, you know, there are examples of Agile being done in the large, across large government departments, previous to what's occurring now. What's occurring now is, in my opinion, there is now a change driver. So government has now realised very, very clearly that the way things are done at the moment doesn't work. And, you know, sadly, we've had lots of examples of that occurring, and lots of public money being wasted over the years. So yeah, the IFG report basically identified that we need to do Agile, we need to stop raising huge programs and a number of other things. Where are we? Well, we are a year down the line. Universal credit, my opinion, you know, whether it is perfectly Agile or not is a different question. However, is it doing good stuff? In my opinion, yes it is. Have we got the ability to learn lessons from universal credit? Yes, we do. I think the problem is, as I was saying earlier, it's when people become fundamentalist, especially methods people become fundamentalist. Because all that happens is those methods people will just only ever be negative about what's happening. So if we look at government as a whole, you know, there's some really good examples out there of Agile being done. I believe the Coast Guard, if I remember rightly, they've been doing an Agile drive. There's a number of smaller examples of Agile, absolutely right, there's universal credit. This is great. This means that the government is actually recognising the reality of the problem they have, and they're trying to use different approaches. I think it's going to be very, very sad if all the methods experts out there just go into attack mode, and basically, you know, the Agile experts start attacking everything saying, it's not Agile, and the non-Agile people attack it saying, oh, Agile caused this problem. Whereas what we need to be doing is saying, look, the way we do things at the moment doesn't work. It's been proved over many, many years it doesn't work. Agile is one of the things that we can use to solve these sorts of problems. Let's work together, let's figure out, looking at universal credit and other things, what went well, what went badly, and what are we going to do differently next time. So basically do a retrospective and think positively about, hey, some things were good, some things were bad, we need to learn. We've currently, apart from universal credit, there have been quite small things, but hey, you know, let's learn from that, let's start scaling it up, let's start getting some success. So it would be a really sad thing if everyone just attacks it, because anyone can attack something. You know, where the skill is to actually look at it, what went well, what went badly, what are we going to do differently, and move forward.
Okay, well thank you, Pete. Certainly some food for thought there. We look forward to seeing you in October.
Excellent, thank you very much.